if the world hate you. Verse 14, we know that we have passed from death unto life, because we love the brethren. He that loveth not his brother abideth in death.
You abide in death if you don't love your people. You might as well chalk it up. When those missiles come, just chalk it up. You're not going to survive. If you hate your people, you don't got time to be hating nobody else when the world is at war. Right? And you done passed from, like, we as blacks, as brothers in the truth, sisters in the truth, we done passed from death to life because we do love our people. Right. But if you do not, if you hold grudges and you hate people without a cause, you abide in death. And that is going to be the outcome in an impending war. You're going to need your people. So you're going to have to step up and put your pride down and put all of your, all of those feelings and all of that self-hatred. You're going to have to cast that out of you. You're going to have to get that up out of you, because you're not going to make it. You are not going to make it if you are a hater of the brethren. If you are somebody that can't let things go, and you just have to get into something with somebody, and you have to be mad at someone for something, you are not going to make it. Let me hear it.
The book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 10. Be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love and honor, preferring one another.
Right. So you want to be kind to one another. You want to treat one another how you want to be treated. You want to prefer one another. You don't want to prefer the other nations. There's a lot of our brothers and sisters that are going to find out the hard way. It's sad to say, you're going to find out the hard way who your enemy really was. When there is no rule of law, when there is no one you can go to help you, when there is no 911, when the sky is dark, when there's no food on the shelves, you're going to find out who your friends really were, who your people really were. And it wasn't those other nations. It wasn't the people that you thought, oh yeah, diversity and we love the world and, love is love. It wasn't them. It was the people that you look down on, that you look just like. A lot of you brothers and sisters are going to find out the hard way in an impending war. I promise you that. So this is a Red Cross War Report. This one is from 2016. They do reports on, wars in urban areas, wars in different places, the effects, even people explain how life has changed since the infrastructure of the cities has been destroyed by bombs and missile attacks. And these are some of the things that a lot of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians will have to think about. Okay.
Although urbanization is a broadly positive phenomenon due to the development of industries, services, and cultural activities that it allows, at the same time, the modern cities is both particularly exposed to violence and a vehicle for violence because of its density, anonymity, and interdependent infrastructure and dependence on resources.
So it's talking about it's breaking down what it is like living in cities, and it's showing you how people who live in cities are exposed to more violence. It is a vehicle for more violence because of the density of the city and the interdependent infrastructure and the dependence on resources. Keep reading.
In the future, as cities become more connected and dependent on new technologies, new vulnerabilities will arise, leading to fears of future cyber attacks on public transports, the electricity grid, or the banking system.
And that's already been happening. More cyber attacks, more people tapping into government agencies, stealing information. There's cyber wars. You probably don't know this, but there are cyber wars behind the scenes with different countries. They have, cyber terrorism departments fighting, because people are fighting wars in all type of ways. But we are more connected in that way, in that infrastructure, through social media, through the internet and networks. And so that is a way to fight other nations through cyber attacks, through hacking and things like that.
For people living in cities at war today, Armed conflict has horrifying consequences.
Mm-hmm.
We have identified the following major challenges relating to the security of city dwellers and the services they need to live and survive.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, security. Fighting, bombing mines, improvised explosive devices, IEDs, unexploded ordnance, and oppression by combatants means that people's homes are no longer safe.
Keep going.
Supplies of sustenance.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Supplies of sustenance items, food and water are rationed, of poor quality or unavailable.
So that's, you're going to have to deal with that. You're going to have to deal with the fighting. You're going to have to deal with the bombing. You're going to have to deal with mines, improvised explosives, IEDs. You're going to have to deal with substance problems. Food, water will be rationed out. A poor quality also. It's going to be at a poor quality. So what would help you with that? Brotherhood would help you with that. Go ahead, keep reading.
Electricity and fuel supplies. These are limited, rationed, or cut off.
Electricity and fuel supplies, they're limited. So you probably won't even be able to get electricity. It'll be off unless you have some generator or some solar panel or something like that to produce your own electricity. And forget about fuel. Fuel is going to only be reserved for the military. They're not giving it to civilians anymore because they need that fuel to be able to fight their wars. Go ahead.
Healthcare. Hospitals are damaged or destroyed. Healthcare staff become increasingly scarce. The quality of care falls, and there's a risk of epidemics spreading more easily.
Now, I want you to think about how many people you see in the hospital when you go to the hospital. How many elderly people? How many young people? How many middle-aged people? There will be no hospital. There will be no place for people to get that type of health care because the staff won't be there. You won't have the same quality of health care. At most, you'll have a third world type of health care where they set up a tent and they got some pills and some water, maybe an IV to give you, and that's it. And then on top of that is risk of epidemics, of diseases, and all type of things popping off. You understand? Go ahead.
The future. People's ability to have an education,
Mhm.
a job, or any kind of future is compromised.
So you can forget about it. You talking about your education and your job and your future is compromised. You talking about what the things you want to do in the future? Well, those things are compromised. You cannot do those things anymore. Why? You can't go to school because you don't know if a damn bomb is going to hit your school. You can't, get that job because the job doesn't exist. The economy doesn't exist anymore. So those things are all compromised and they are not even promised anymore because you live in a totally different world after war begins. America will be a totally different place to be in. Like Commander General Yohana said, it will go from a first world nation to a second or third world nation because of war and because of lack of resources. So what are you going to do as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians? Will you survive that? The better question is, do you want to survive it? That's the question you should be asking. Do I want to survive? If a war breaks out tomorrow, do I want to survive it? Do I want my family to survive it? What am I going to do? Who am I going to lean on? We got the answer in the ISUPK. Let's get give me Zephaniah 2:1. Y'all know where I'm going.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together. O nation not desired.
We're going to have to do that. You think right now when things are A-OK, you are the people who are not desired right now. What more when war break out and infrastructure is down and there's no rule of law, there's no police officer, there's no 911. Everybody is fending for themselves. So who is going to become public enemy number one? Black people, brown people, Native American Indian people. You're going to be public enemy number one. You're going to be the targets of everybody's frustration and everybody's fears. This has happened before. It's happened in Hurricane Katrina, where black men were shot at by truckloads of white men. There was no police to go to. There was no infrastructure. Everything is flooded. And these black men are trying to find somewhere that's safe and secure. And truckloads of white men start indiscriminately chasing them and shooting at them without no warning at all. Now, hey, you guys need some help. None of that. It's pow, pow. Get up out of here, nigga. That's how people really want to be. They really want to purge. You don't understand that. You don't get it. You live in a damn bubble that is not reality. And in this impending war, if it cracks off, your reality is going to shatter. It is going to crumble. It's going to crack. And many Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are going to fall by the sword because you are ignorant of who you really are. You're ignorant of the law, statutes, and commandments. You are ignorant to what God really wants. You think the God of Keon Richardson or Henderson, what's his name? You think the God of Keon Henderson is the God that will save you out of World War III? The God that says to look over the poor and just sow your tithes so that you can get a return. You can get an increase, a multiplication. That's what he's saying. Multiply. You can get multiplied. You think the God that these Christians serve in this church is the same God in the Bible, the God of war? He is not. And you're going to be sorely mistaken if war pops out in America. You're going to be looking for answers in the wrong place. I just pulled up the story. I played it on the platform with the brother that's going down there with the story of Javion McGee, and it's looks like it's some sketchy foul play where they said the brother hung himself. He was found at the base of a tree with a rope around his neck that he bought from Walmart. But the video came out with him being slumped next to a truck with 3 white men standing there. And this brother is going through the city talking to residents. And he's talking to this sister. And this sister just happened to be putting some balloons on a tree. And remembering, she didn't know him. She just came from another side of the city to show her condolences. He talking to this sister. And this sister starts to, give her opinion. And he's asking her, is it racist out here? And she's like, yeah, it's racist. I didn't experience a lot of racism. I recently just went to the church and they said, we don't help your kind. This is Henderson, South Carolina in 2024. So you think as Black Christians, as Hispanic Christians, as Native Indian Christians that believe in white Jesus, you think that when the war pops off, that these people are going to be helping you? They are going to revert back to their natural state, and they're going to help and protect and love their kind. And you're going to find out the hard way.